Hello and welcome to AG Cinema, and on this episode, when a family gets together for Christmas doesn't go as planned, they will become trapped inside the house with one another and end up having to survive. But not only is survival key, but when something lurks inside the house and starts attacking people one by one, it's up to the family to decide what's best for the family and to try and eliminate the evil that threatens their family for all of the time in Michael Dougherty's Krampus. Krampus, a 2015 horror movie directed by Michael Dougherty and starring the talents of Adam Scott, Tony Colvietti, David Koechner, and Allison Tomlin. This is a horror film that doesn't feel like a horror film, but it is a throwback to a lot of things Christmas related. In fact, I first intended to review this film in December, but against my better judgment, I decided to review it for right now, especially after since I saw the film. The film has an intention of being focused around the main character Max, as he wants his Christmas to be just like every other Christmas that he had. But sadly, there's a lot of tension between in the family and between the families, and that he actually ends up whipping up his letters to Santa Claus and ends up actually summoning forth the mythological being known as Krampus. Krampus does get two things right in the movie. Number one, the factor of feeling the cold from winter, and secondly, the fact of being alone. The cold and the alone are two great things that this movie does accomplish very well, especially the cold, especially that you can feel and see the ice on the windshield, feel the cold inside the house, and also be the factor of feeling alone because there's a lot of unique scenes where nobody's talking and it's just quietness. But that ends up being destroyed once the monsters start coming into play. Now, I, for one, do love the animatronics and the puppetry effect for a lot of the monsters in this film, primarily the Jack-in-the-Box, the Angel, and the Teddy Bear, but everything else starts to come very out of play, especially when Krampus does officially show up and when his elves do show up as well. The factor of that they also have this scene where the snowmen just start appearing and they get creepier and closer toward the house. I thought, oh, they're gonna do like a weeping angel type of deal from Doctor Who, but that doesn't end up being the case. Especially for David Koechner, who is a well beyond being comedian, and he does very good in comedic films. Actually, he plays this role very seriously. He does come off as a comedian, yes, but he also plays it like he is supposed to, and it actually is pretty nice to see how he handles the role of a horror film. But this film does end up playing respect to the Lincoln Bass cartoons, especially like the Christmas Story and a bunch of others as well. But it plays off too much like a comedy, very similar to Gremlins or even A Nightmare Before Christmas. It really wants to be a horror comedy. And in fact, this is ranked as a horror film. A horror comedy wouldn't exactly fit it in because a lot of times I was laughing more than I was supposed to be scared. Even the jump scares didn't catch me off guard. I laughed at some of the jump scares and made fun of some of the monsters. To be fair and to its credit, it does have some very good, again, puppetry and CGI and stuff. And Krampus himself does look like a pretty interesting monster. But aside from that, I cannot call the movie good, and in fact, it's one of the worst horror films I've ever seen. And so I have to say that Krampus is not a film worth seeing. It's a good film and a good starter film for Michael Dougherty, but it is not what it's supposed to be. And so the film has got to be one of the worst horror films I've ever seen, especially based on around the film of Christmas. Now, as for the animation work later on in the film, that does fit in, and if this film was maybe in the lines of like Coraline, it might have been more good, but it is not, sadly. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and summon your own Krampuses yourself by joining the elf army, I suppose, by subscribing, and also follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below, and let me know if you liked or hated Krampus. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'm Lazy Universe, tuning out.